In this video, we will explore the concept of Kubernetes controllers. We will see how to use them to create a replicated deployments. And also, we will explore which controller we should use for a specific use case. The prerequisite for this video, you should have Kubernetes cluster kubectl configured, and you can clone this Git repo. So there are different kinds of controllers like replica sets, deployments, daemon sets, stateful sets, and jobs. We will explain each of these with examples. So first thing, why do we need controllers? So there are various reasons why you want to use controllers. Like when you want to create more than one replica of your pod. Like in my previous videos, you have seen we are creating a pod object, and that is creating just one pod. So what happens when one pod is down? So for that, we want to create a replica that will make sure that one pod is always running. And the second reason is load balancing. If you have multiple pods running for your application, then you will have a better performance issues from your end users because it is load balanced across your pods. And a controller, it is like an object that will ensure that your applications always run in the desired state, whatever you have configured in your YAML file. So let's start with first replica set. ReplicaSet is a Kubernetes controller that keeps a certain number of pods running at any given time. ReplicaSets will terminate or start new pods to match your configurations. Like when some pods die, so it will create a new pods. So it will do all those things automatically using the template which you have configured. And it can be used to reliably run a single pod indefinitely or to run multiple instances of the same pod. Okay, now let's start using this with the examples. So we will be creating an Nginx container using replica set. So from the configuration perspective, nothing much has changed. This is where you just define your kind, which is the replica set. And here you have defined, I want two pods. You have provided the selectors. This is like just like a labeling. And this is the pod template, which is defining that it wants to run this container and this is the label for that pod. So let's just run this. Okay. So it has created this one and you can check this. Actually, why to provide this? So RS is the short form of replica set. So here you can see that it has created this replica set and this is desired whatever we have put in our configurations and it is running that. And you can also check the pods, kubectl get pods. You should be able to see. This is the random name, random number that got generated, and this is whatever is the name of your replica set. Okay, and you can do the describe of your replica sets, how it looks. So let's just copy this command. Okay, and here you can see all the details of your replica set. Yeah, the selectors, the labels, your replicas, the pod status, everything you would be able to see. You can also check your pod configuration also. So your pod configuration actually will provide you that this pod is controlled by the replica set. Now we'll try to delete one pod and see what happens. Okay, so let me just first find my pod name. Okay, kubectl delete pod, and I'll just delete this one. Okay, so it's deleted. So now what happens? What do you think? Now Because we have used the replica set as an object, it will check what is the desired state and what is the current state. And if it does not matches, it will just create the new pod. So now if I do this, you can see that it has created, and you can check the time also, it is just 20 seconds ago. So if you delete something, it will automatically get created. You can again check the pods and all those things. Okay, now we'll just delete this replica set altogether to check other scenarios. Okay. Okay, now if I do kubectl get pods, nothing is there. Okay, I have deleted everything. Now what will I do? Now I will first create a pod. Okay, it's a normal pod. It's a kind pod and just first container nginx. Okay, first let me create this. Okay, so let me just do this kubectl create -f pod matching rs. I think that's, let me just check. Yes, so this is just normal pods that I'm running. So let me just run this. Okay, I have created this pod. Now you can check this kubectl get pods. The name is also now. Now what I'll do, I'll just run this YAML file replica set again. So we will see what happened, because now one pod is already there. So what this replica set will do when you do that. So let's just run this. Okay. So now if you do this kubectl get pods, you should see that it just created one, and one you can see with the same name. But now if you see describe pod matching -rs, it is managed by controller replica set. You can see controlled by replica set. So your replica set is intelligent enough to check if something is exist, it will consider that also. Okay. And it will not just recreate the same pod. Okay. So this is how you can do this. Mm, you can use this thing for scaling up your replica set. You can just run this command like this kubectl. So let me just scale this now. Okay. And if I do the kubectl get pods, you can see that 4 pods are running. So it is very easy to scale up now. Okay. So this is how the replica set is working. There is no issue as such. So what is the need of the deployment object now? So deployment is also one of the Kubernetes objects that act as a wrapper around a replica set, and it makes it easier to use. It is recommended that we should use deployments that will manage the replica set, and the replica set is responsible for creating a pods. Why do we need to use deployments? So deployments basically maintains a history of revisions also. And whenever you change anything in your replica or pod configuration, a new revision is created. You can easily roll back to the previous version, or each rollback also creates a new revision. So this is how it look like. Deployment, here is the replica sets, and this is the pods, and these are the containers. And in deployment, there are different kinds of strategies that you can use. Like when it is actually creating a new pod or replacing the pod with the new, then what is the strategies, deployment strategy that you can use? So there are two types of strategy. First is the rolling update. Rolling update is the default one. It is used like when you are updating the deployments without downtime. It will not create any downtime. Why? Because in this strategies, controller is updating the pod one by one. That means at any given point of time, at least one pod is always running. because we have put the condition as a rolling update. With the rolling update, but there is also a chance that at particular time, two versions of your applications are running, because in a rolling update it is doing one by one. So there is a possibility that at one point of time you would have two versions of your applications running. But it is okay if your application is just serving the static information, then this approach is okay. It depends if you can use the rolling update. If it is okay from your application side that you can handle two different versions, then you can use this strategy. There is no issues. How you can define this? So in the configuration, here you have defined the rolling update. And in the rolling update also, you can specify max unavailable parameter and max search parameters. What does that mean? Like when it is doing the rolling update, as I have said, it is doing pods one by one like that. So in that, you can configure that at any given point of time, at least one pod should always be running. Or you can specify that 25% of pods is always be in running state. Like if you have 100 pods for your application, so you want to make sure that 25 pods is always been running state. So this is max unavailable means. Default value is always 25%, but you can change it according to your application need. And max surge, what does that mean? It is the maximum number of pods that you can schedule or created above the limit. Like here I have provided the 3. So I am telling them that you can go up to 4, but not more than that, right? So when you are, because when you are doing that rolling update, then you are creating, you are scheduling, you are deleting. There also you are specifying the limit, like this is your upper limit you can go and this is your lower limit you can go. So in this above example, we are telling Kubernetes controller that while updating the pod, you can create at most four pods, like you can go above one to your threshold, which is the 3 replicas, and one pod should always be in a running state. So this is what the rolling strategy is. The next is the recreate. Recreate is easy. I mean, in this, there would be a downtime and all the existing pods are killed before update, but it ensures that your application is always on one region. This is useful when application cannot be on different versions at a particular time. Okay, now we will just explore a little bit about deployment with both the strategies. What happened? Okay, now let me just run this. So these are the strategies that actually you can use. Here we are just creating one deployment objects to show you. So if you look at the configuration sites, it is very simple. Here you are just putting deployment objects, but other than that, if you will see, everything is the same as you have for replica set. So now just let me just do this. Okay, so it has created the deployment and you can also check your deployment like this, up to date, available like this. So deployment, and if I do the kubectl get rs, you can see that also. Here you can see that now replica set is as per the naming convention of your deployment object. So here is the nginx deployment hyphen any random number. And for the pods, kubectl get pods, you can see that now this and this is the last number. So this is how it works with deployment objects. So it's like a deployment, it is managing replica sets and then 3 pods. Rolling back, so you can do this kubectl rollout history, rollout undo deployment whenever you want to do that. So for the deployment, because this is being used so much, you can refer my previous video which I have created specifically for Kubernetes deployment, where I will be showing creating a deployment, editing a deployment, undo deployment, roll back the deployment, everything. So you can follow that. Okay, now we will explain about stateful sets. So what do you mean by stateful? Like when you are accessing any online banking, where when I'm log into that, it needs to go to the same pod for my entire transaction or for my entire duration, mostly if they are correlated, right? So for that, the stateful sets or we need the stateful replicas, right? This is similar like deployment, which creates or manage the pods as per the configuration. But how stateful replicas work? So when you define a stateful sets in your YAML configurations, then it maintains a unique identity of the pods. Each pod is different and it cannot be interchangeable. Each pod gets a sticky identity that used by the application code to manage the state of the application on a particular pod, right? Even if your pod restarts, then each of the pods will persist their sticky identity so that the previous transactions which were going before, it will go to the same pod. So like if a particular pod crashes or deleted, a new pod will be created and assigned the same sticky identity as of the old pod. So we use the stateful sets for most of our applications where this is important, right? The use cases, the like one use case is like the persistent storage, like where you want to have a persistent storage. You can partition the data and store it in different pods. So there are a lot of other use cases also for stateful sets. Okay, now we will explore about daemon sets. Why do we need that? So when you want to manage the creation of pods on a selected or on all the nodes that is being used, then we use the daemon sets. Like if you configure daemon sets to create a pods, then on all the nodes, or if new nodes were added, then new pods will get created on the new nodes also. Now, why you were thinking, why do we need the daemon sets? So like for the logging, right? We want to get the log of all the pods which are running in different nodes, right? So logging pod, you want to um, run on all the nodes so that we can collect the metrics. Local data caching, like managing caching pods on all the nodes, you need that, right? So that these pods can be used by other application pods to store the cache data. Monitoring, we want to monitor all the nodes, right? So we want to mm, put that monitoring pods on all the nodes. So for that reason, we use the daemon sets. Okay, so all these containers, controllers, replica set, deployment, stateful sets, and daemon sets have one common characteristics. Like they all are useful for applications which are running continuously. But sometimes we have a requirement like just run this for a specific task. And once that is done, just complete. We don't want to run that pod continuously. So for that, Kubernetes provides an object called job. So you can create a job like this. So let me just run. Here you can see that I have defined this kind as a job and it's just normal containers. I want this container to just do this and restart policy. It's like you cannot have always, you have to have on failure. If you do not define this, then you will see an error that job cannot have a restart policy as a default one. Okay, so now let me just run this, or I can, okay. So you can see this, the job is created, kubectl get jobs. Here you can see that it's created, but it's still showing 0, 1. It's not completed yet. kubectl get pods. So you can see that one-time job and it is in running state. And I can check the logs of this pod kubectl logs. And this is my pod name -f. So here you can see that it's by, right? Now, if I do the get jobs, you should be able to see that it is showing that it's completed. And if I do the get pods, then also you will be showing that it's showing as a status as completed and nothing is running. So the job is once your task is complete, it will just show the pod as a completed. Okay, thank you.